everyone, I'm Rashad Robinson, president of Color of Change, and I'm here for the weekly report known as All the News That You Can Use. My dear sister Alicia is taking a much-deserved vacation, self-care, community care. It is so incredibly important, but she has entrusted me with this segment. Since she is not here, I'm going to tell you a little secret. Whenever you hear Alicia say, all the news that you can use, that she actually got that from me. Now, don't tell her that I said that. We'll just keep that between us. Anyway, here is our weekly roundup of all of the things we ain't gonna do. The number one thing I am not going to try to do this week is play along with this story that too many people are trying to lay over us right now. That COVID is just this sad, unfortunate thing that has happened that we need to move on. That it's almost like a car accident. Inequality, structural racism isn't unfortunate, it is unjust. It is a result of all of these things that have been manufactured in society. And so when we continue to get this story that we need to just move beyond COVID, that it's sad, that it is unfortunate, recognize that there is an agenda behind it. There's an agenda that wants us to not look at the structural underpinnings that actually got us in this situation and prevents us from actually doing the work to deal with and solve those structural challenges. We are now marking the official count of 1 million COVID deaths this week. And of course, the real count is much greater than that. COVID deaths, time and time again, impacting families and communities, all of the direct consequences, and seeing the ways in which the underfunding, the choices long before COVID, added to all of the ways in which communities face challenges. So what we're not going to do is pretend that this is simply unfortunate. We are going to recognize the injustice and we are going to do the work and build the power to actually change the rules, to deal with the inequality that got us in here, to not use the passive voice when we talk about the deaths, but use the active voice. It is not that Black people are more likely to die from COVID. It is that the choices our government has made it so that more Black people are killed by this disease, killed by government inaction, and killed by the choices that our society has made. We need to come together, work together, and build together so that new choices are made. The other thing that I am not going to do this week is pretend that our leaders are standing up for reimagining public safety in our communities when they are not standing up to police, when they are not standing up to injustice. This coming week will mark Police Week all across the country. And on Capitol Hill, we will see police associations, police foundations, and yes, police unions showing up to try to make their case about why they deserve more money and less accountability. So what we are not going to do is let politicians off the hook who come into our communities and say they care about safety and that they care about justice, and they are not standing up to all of the ways in which the unaccountable police forces continue to wreak havoc, to actually not deal with solving crime, and to put our communities further and further in harm's way. At Color of Change, we have done a lot of work around holding both police unions and police foundations accountable. Did you know that many of the biggest corporations all around the country currently donate money to police foundations under the guise that they are helping to sponsor police athletic leagues or that they are working to support police community relations, when in fact, so much of that money is going to pay for things like armored vehicles and equipment that communities have actually voted against. Yes, corporations are doing this. And at Color of Change, we have actually worked to hold these corporations accountable, getting the Coca-Cola Foundation to actually stop supporting the Atlanta Police Foundation. So much work needs to be done. But what we are not going to do is pretend like justice can be served, that public safety can be imagined, and that our communities can truly come together if we are not actually bringing more accountability to police forces that have wreaked so much havoc. We cannot simply have the conversation about more money to going to police without more accountability to these same departments. And now I am excited to shift to talk about some goodness that is happening, some things that I want to uplift, some news that you can use on the positive front. One thing that sort of represents a big change is how we are finally recognizing mental health as one of the most important factors in our lives. And May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So this is our chance to keep talking about it, to keep having more discussions in communities, to check on the people that you love in your families, and to also do the work to make sure we have the necessary funding, supports, and mechanisms in our community. You know, I just talked about one of the things I don't like, which is more money to going to police. But if we are going to truly reimagine public safety, we actually need deep funding for mental health. We need to make sure that the only way to solve problems in our communities is not sending someone with a gun, but to have the type of wraparound services that deal with trauma, that deal with poverty, that deal with all of the harms that have been caused by the choices our society has made. And so with May being Mental Health Awareness Month, let's not just talk about it from the perspective of what we do at an individual level. Let's talk about it from what we do from a societal level. This is not just about compassion from one person to another. This is about how do we make our society more compassionate? How do we make our society more just? And how do we make sure we create the structures for all of us to get the things that we need, to have the right solutions and the right conversations? This is good news that these conversations are happening. And now let's translate these conversations in the type of action to make real change possible. My number 2 good news of the week is that there are 2 Black women on the move that I want to uplift and celebrate, breaking through all sorts of barriers and bringing new perspectives we need to the places that we deeply need. It was announced that Karine Jean-Pierre, my friend, will be taking over as the White House press secretary, the official spokesperson for President Biden and the US government. She was the deputy press secretary since the beginning of the administration, and now she is the first Black woman and first openly LGBT person to serve as White House press secretary. She was born in Martinique, raised in New York. I know her, and I do not envy the job that she has. I remember growing up watching West Wing and seeing CJ Craig do her thing. And now we have a whole new vision, a whole new representation for folks about what does it mean to stand at one of the most powerful podiums in the world and speak for the government. I know she will bring all sorts of perspective and lived experiences into those rooms. And another person I want to uplift is someone else that I know and someone else I've gotten a chance to spend time with. The Federal Reserve is also about to look different and hopefully start acting differently too. With Vice President Harris breaking the tie, the Senate confirmed Dr. Lisa Cook this week, making her the first Black woman to sit on the Federal Reserve Board in its 108-year history. She was on President Obama's economic advisors, on Biden's transition team, and has already been elected to the board of the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. The Federal Reserve just made the decision to raise interest rates, making it more expensive to borrow money. These are so many of the official policies, research, and other types of influence make the Federal Reserve a really important organization. They affect us in ways we don't always know, but ways that will always show up in our lives and in our wallets. And so let's recognize the importance of having the right people in the room. Diversity doesn't get us everything we want, but having people in the room to bring perspectives who actually have power is critical. And now there is someone on the board who actually has written about how Jim Crow laws in the South just a generation ago affected long-term growth in the US economy. And she'll understand how so many of the laws that are being advanced by the right wing will impact us all differently. Uplifting those narratives, uplifting those conversations, and giving us all more ways to fight back, stand up, and actually push for the things that we need. Karine Jean-Pierre, Dr. Lisa Cook, good luck. We'll be looking out for you, but we will also be doing the work to hold the institutions you are going inside of accountable. That is how all of this works. So y'all, that is it for this weekly roundup. News that you can use. Again, sitting in for my dear friend, Alicia Garza. I am Rashad Robinson, and I know that you all will be happy to have her back soon. Until then, take care, be well, and stay safe.